Good morning. It is a beautiful Sunday on a Victoria Day weekend. I'm being sarcastic because here in London this morning, it is wet and freezing. All right, today, just two things. The latest piece of conservative outrage and an update on the election, which also has some conservative outrage. Let me start here because apparently it's the source of conservative outrage. Canada's new tariffs on US dropped to nearly zero with exemptions, from Oxford Economics. First up, I'd like to remind everybody that Oxford Economics has the world's most deceptive name. Because everyone would think it's Oxford University Economics, but it's not. It's these folks. And they have a habit of leaving little pieces of information out. Small yet important pieces of information. And that's what happened with this article. I've seen the videos. Well, I thought it was elbows up. Apparently it's elbows down. Well, first up, it's actually not news at all. It's actually something that goes back several weeks, and I spoke about it several weeks ago from RBC Featured Insights. CUSMA compliance rush. Will it shield Canada from US tariffs? See? April 25th. See, Canada, the United States, and Mexico, we have this little thing called the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement. And if you put tariffs on items that are covered by the Canada-USMCA agreement, you are in breach of contract. Which is why the United States agreed to not tariff items that are in the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. And that accounts for about 94% of products coming from Canada. And since the United States has agreed to not tariff things that are covered by CUSMA, Canada is not retaliating on things covered by CUSMA, dropping tariffs to nearly zero. Go ahead and search that article for CUSMA. You'll find nothing. Search for USMCA, which is what the Americans want to call it. You will find nothing. No mention whatsoever of this incredibly important detail. But hey, I can forgive the folks at Oxford Economics or the National Post because even people at JP Morgan do this. Tariffs are falling more quickly than Wall Street expected. Why? Well, this is all from Liberation Day. These tariffs were supposed to be a huge win for the United States. Why would they get rid of them? Because they don't work. That's why. Because they're horrible. And JP Morgan's chief economist, Mike Feroli, has some interesting takes on this. See, he thought for sure there was going to be a recession in the US when the tariffs were up here. But now that they've fallen, the recession totally disappeared. Why? Well, because rolling back those tariffs that were implemented at the beginning of April is the equivalent of a $300 billion tax cut on Americans. I'm sorry, what? So it would stand to reason that in April there would have been a $300 billion tax increase on Americans because the tariffs were in place. But we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to say it's like a $300 billion tax cut on Americans, which should totally boost the economy. Chief economist of JP Morgan. Look, I'm sure he's a very intelligent man. Absolutely. But come on. All right, update on the elections. And first up, I got to give it to Millennial Moron. Extremely well played. He put judicial recounts on a chart, and there you go. Like, one look at this chart and you realize the recounts are off the chain this time until you read the numbers. Yeah, there are 4 judicial recounts in Canada. When Stephen Harper was elected, there were 6. When Stephen Harper lost, there were 6. Now, the Bloc are very upset because they lost a riding by a single vote. And they want that result overturned so that they somehow can win by losing by a single vote. After recounting none of it, the NDP hold that riding. And as of right now, the Liberal government has 170 seats. The best they can hope for is 171. I'd like to point out that at the beginning of March, I said the Liberals would win with a majority. Now I know it's not a majority, but before they changed the ridings and stuff and added 2 seats, 170 would have been a majority. Just want to point that out. Let me just close it out by saying this. If we don't work together, we're not going to achieve our goals. And shit like this drives us apart. It doesn't bring us together.